Let's take a look.
Thank you very much. Please, Susie. No place like the White House. Do we agree?
Agreed.
Right, Mr. Kraft? No place like the White House. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. And we'll maybe discuss a couple of general topics. This is a board meeting for the Trump Kennedy Center, but we'll go into a couple of other things that we have the media present. It's always present, unfortunately, constantly. And I'll say a few words about what's happening in the Middle East.
Hello, hello.
And if you have a couple of questions.
Guys, thank you for joining. We got Trump live, and he's holding a lunch and discussing, U.S., Iran politics, military, all kinds of stuff.
We'll do that, and then we'll get on
Thank you for joining. Welcome, welcome. Happy Monday, guys. Let's go.
with our board meeting. So, thank you very much for being here. We have a wonderful group of very, very smart, talented patriots at this table. Our powerful military campaign to end the threats posed by the Iranian regime continued in full force over the past few days. They have been literally obliterated. The Air Force is gone. The Navy is gone. Many, many ships have been sunk. They're war-fighting ships, but I guess they didn't know how to use them. And anti-aircraft is decimated. Their radar is gone, and their leaders.
Guys, this was Trump live literally like 20, 30 minutes ago. It just ended like 5 or 10 minutes ago.
Are gone. Other than that, they're doing quite well. They've been a terror for 47 years, and now I guess the world, through the United States, with the help of Israel, is doing what should have been done many years ago. Should have been done many years ago. Since the beginning of the conflict, we've struck more than 7,000 targets across Iran. And these have been mostly commercial and military targets. We've achieved a 90% reduction in their ballistic missile launches and a 95% reduction in drone attacks. The missiles are trickling in now at very low levels because they don't have too many missiles left. We've also attacked the manufacturing plants, where the places where they manufacture the missiles and the drones, and that's going on today. We just hit 3 of them today. And it's getting very hard for them to manufacture. More than 100 Iranian naval vessels have been sunk or destroyed over the last week and a half. That has to be some kind of a record. Additional strikes continue to launch from all directions every single hour. And as you know, we attacked Karg Island and knocked it literally, destroyed everything on the island except for the area where the oil is. I call it the pipes. We left the pipes. We didn't want to do that, but that we will do that. We can do that on 5 minutes' notice. It'll be over. But for purposes of someday rebuilding that country, I guess we did the right thing. But it may not stay that way. Just one simple word and the pipes will be gone too, but it'll take a long time to rebuild that. We are aggressively dismantling Iran's defense industrial base, and ability to rebuild its missiles and drone capability is getting down to close to zero. And we're hammering their capacity to threaten commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, with more than 30 mine-laying ships destroyed. We hit, to the best of our knowledge, all of their mine-laying ships. Now they can put them on other types of ships, I guess, and drop them in. But we don't know that any have even been dropped in. We're not sure that any have been. That's a big negative for them if they do it. It's a form of suicide. but we don't know that they have dropped any. But we've hit all 30 of their ships and destroyed them. They're all at the bottom of the sea. We strongly encourage other nations whose economies depend on the Strait far more than ours. You know, we get less than 1% of our oil from the Strait, and some countries get much more. Japan gets 95%. China gets 90%. Many of the Europeans get quite a bit. South Korea gets 35%. So we want them to come and help us with the Strait. We have it in very good shape. The countries, I said, we've already taken care of Iran, but now, because of the fact that literally a single terrorist can put something in the water or shoot something or shoot a missile, a small missile, and it's fairly close range because it is a tight area.
I got a couple questions. First of all, hi, Jan. Hi, Nurse Terry. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Is my sound maybe too high? So a couple questions you guys are asked. Some of you in the Instagram are saying, yes, please, thank you. President Trump finished the job. Yes, absolutely. And then some of you are asking, are they going to change the regime or just disarm Iran? The goal here is regime change. He's not going to be, Israel won't be happy, Trump won't be happy, America won't be happy, the world won't be happy if there are still Ayatollahs running Iran. So there is going to be a regime change for sure. Iranians specifically, more than anyone on the planet, don't want Ayatollahs or religious clerics to run their country. So that's not going to happen.
Area, and which is one of the reasons they've always used that as a weapon. Iran has always used that as an economic weapon, and it's not going to be able to be used very long. Numerous countries have told me they're on the way. Some are very enthusiastic about it, and some aren't. Some are countries that we've helped for many, many years.
I like what he's doing right here with the Strait of Hormuz. We can go in there and control everything ourselves. But as we know, if you guys are following my channel, you know that 20% or more of the world's oil travels through the Strait of Hormuz, which is being threatened by Iran right now. And for some countries, a major portion of their oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz. And so he is calling on these other countries to come and be part of what we're doing in the Strait of Hormuz. And I think it's a great strategy, even though we can handle it on our own, us and our allies. But it's nice to call upon the nations and see who ends up coming and kind of go from there. We did that when we asked UK and some other countries to join us early on in this war. We quickly found out who's down and who's not. So I like this strategy. This is good. We're going to find out who's in and who's not with all these other countries. My voice. These other countries that are that have interests in freeing the Strait of Hormuz now.
We've protected them from horrible outside sources, and they weren't that enthusiastic. And the level of enthusiasm matters to me. We have some countries where we have 45,000 soldiers, great soldiers, protecting them from harm's way. And we have done a great job. And when we want to know, do you have any minesweepers? Well, would rather not get involved, sir. I said, you mean for 40 years we're protecting you and you don't want to get involved in some...
You see? I call it, dude. I didn't even see this. Look at this.
Thing that is
Let me
very
go back.
minor.
Look at that.
Here's 5,000 that enthusiastic. And the level of enthusiasm matters to me. We have some countries where we have 45,000 soldiers, great soldiers, protecting them from harm's way. And we have done a great job. And when we want to know, do you have any minesweepers? Well, would rather not get involved, sir. I said, you mean for 40 years we're protecting you and you don't want to get involved in something that is very minor? Very few shots going to be taken because they don't have many shots left. But they said, we'd rather not get involved. I just want the fake news media and everybody else to remember that that was said, because I've been a big critic of all of the protecting of countries, because I know that we'll protect them.
What's up, Min? Good to have you back. And then, yes, that's a great question, Min.
And if we ever needed help, they won't be there for us. I've just known that for a long period of time, just like I knew about the Strait, that it would be a weapon, which I predicted a long time ago, predicted all of this stuff. You guys were very generous in that. I predicted all of it. I predicted Osama bin Laden would knock out the World Trade Center. I made that prediction a year before he did it. I said, you better get him. He's a bad guy. I watched him be interviewed one time, and I said, that's a bad guy. You better get him. 1 year before, exactly. I wrote it in a book. You can even check. About a year before the World Trade Center then came down, President Clinton actually had a shot at him, and he didn't take it. Unfortunately, I'm not blaming him for that, but he didn't take it. And he ended up knocking down the World Trade Center, but I predicted that too. I predicted a lot of things. We strongly encourage other nations whose economies depend on the Strait for blood. I mean, these people literally need it. 95% of their energy or their oil comes out of the Strait, and they should be in here very happily helping us. And it's incredible. We have we're number one in oil by double now. We drill, baby, drill. We're double any other nation, and it's going to be soon triple any other nation. And that doesn't include Venezuela, who's been great. By the way, the relationship with Venezuela has been fantastic. Literally millions of barrels of oil are being taken out, and it's been a great help, and it's been to their great benefit. The president has done a really good job. We get along with him really well, but we've taken out millions of barrels of oil and brought to Houston and other places to the refineries. We have refineries set up specifically for that. And it's been a great relationship, and more and more is happening. It's a tremendous oil source, and we're stepping it up very rapidly. The big companies are going in, and they will actually, numbers in a pretty short period of time, numbers that they've never been able to do, we'll be doing. There's a lot of oil under that land. We strongly encourage the other nations to get involved with us, and get involved quickly and with great enthusiasm. I have that from a number of them, and I'd like to say their names, but frankly, I don't know if they would want me to or not, because maybe they don't want to be targeted. But I say, wouldn't matter if you're targeted or not, because this is a paper tiger that we're dealing with now. It wasn't a paper tiger 2 weeks ago. It's a paper tiger now. So now we're going to get down to the reason. We'll take a couple of questions in a moment, but we're going to get down to the reason we're here today. Actually, this was set up a long time ago. It's the Trump Kennedy Center. Over the past year, we've made incredible strides to restore the true purpose and prestige of this revered institution. Together, we're going to ensure it remains the finest performing arts facility of its kind anywhere in the world. And I don't know that it ever really reached that stage, but it will over a period of time. We're rebuilding it. It's in very, very bad condition. It's been it's been somewhat of a disaster, to be honest with you. It's been let go to hell. That's what they've done. They did a poor job. They spent money in the wrong places. They built some theaters underneath that nobody uses, little ones, tiny theaters that cost $300 million. And the money was spent incorrectly, wrong. We're dealing with some networks on the possibility of renting those little theaters. Nobody's going to use them. They want the big halls. The halls are going to be incredible. They're in bad shape, but when they're completed, the bones are potentially something that could be unbelievable. So I want Before we begin, I want to thank Rick Grinnell. He's been a friend of mine for a long time. He's been unbelievable. He was the ambassador, as you know, to Germany. There was no happier woman in the world than Angela Merkel. Angela. She called me, "Thank you, sir, thank you." Although she liked Rick a lot, there was nobody happier that he was no longer going to be the ambassador to Germany. He was difficult for them. He was not your typical ambassador. He was the opposite. He would do what was best for the United States, not for Germany. And I want to tell you, he did a great job. So good that I put him in charge of a thing called intelligence. And something he didn't really want to do, but he did it, and he did it incredibly well. There were a lot of leakers. He found out the leakers. And when he didn't find out who the leaker was in a certain area, he fired everybody. And he went into one room where there was leaks coming out. These are long-term problems that these various places have had. And he said, "Who's the one that leaked this?" And they wouldn't admit it, so he fired the whole room. And he did a good job, I'll tell you. He was very good. And during this transition period, I asked Rick if he would run it, because we wanted to see. And if you remember when we first took it over, I didn't do it with enthusiasm. I did it because somebody had to do it. I had to turn it around because it was failing. It would have closed, and physically it would have almost fallen down. It was in very bad shape. The steel columns outside, as an example, were meant to be covered. You know, exposed steel is unusual to have in building. What I do best in life is build. I build buildings really well and under budget and ahead of schedule. That's what I do, unlike the Fed building, which is going to cost billions of dollars. It may never open. I mean, right now, we have a wonderful Kevin, a wonderful new head of the Fed coming in. I don't know if he'll ever be able to occupy this complex. It was destroyed by Jerome Too Late Powell. I call him Too Late because he's always too late with interest. Should cut interest rates. He should cut them right now. They should have a special meeting. What's a better time to cut interest rates than now? A third grade student would know that. But that's a terrible thing. But what I do is build. I build great stuff. And
it's funny, we got people making comments, of course, all over the place. We got this one here about someone saying he abandoned no more wars or something like that. He's putting the world in economic crisis, all this, that, and the other. I love it, guys, when we have the same people that wanted to put men in women's bathrooms, the same people that wanted men to go fight women in the boxing rings, the same people that want you to believe that 6-year-olds can decide what gender they want to be and they can go ahead and start taking pills at some age and turn into that gender. They want to come and tell us about how we should conduct wars, and they want to tell us about the economy, and they want to tell us about Iran. They were yelling "Free Palestine" in our faces all over our whole country, yet they had no idea what the hell was going on with the Middle East. They have no idea what the history was or what is currently happening. I just find it comical, guys. What happened to your men and women's sports? Where'd that go?
What we're going to do is, right outside. In fact, if you look behind me, see the nice gold curtain?
What happened to men and women's sports? You guys gave up on that? You're over that now?
If you want to look into a nice foundation and you want to see a lot of work, very deep, very, very deep for specific reasons, we have a magnificent ballroom being built, because this is the biggest room, and it holds like 98 people for dinner. But behind me, you're going to have a ballroom that this building and the people occupying it, in particular, every president for 150 years, has clamored for a ballroom, a large, beautiful room. This is a cocktail room, and this whole floor will end up being a cocktail room for the cocktail area or pre-area for the ballroom before dinners. So we'll have heads of state. We can't even do a heads of state dinner. Usually what they do is they would do them on the lawn with a tent. But when it rains, the lawn is very low. And you know the land in Washington. It was built on swampy, wet land. And when it rains and you have the king of Saudi Arabia. We have, as an example, the king of the UK. I would say king of England, who's a great guy. He's coming in very soon. And when it rains, you know what happened? The rain would go over their feet. It would be about 4 or 5 inches over their shoes. This was not good. So, and it rained a lot. So we're building, finally, because I do that. And by the way, no taxpayer money. I want to put that, zero. It's going to be, it's on time, on budget. It'll be under budget. Literally, we're having it under budget, other than we've upgraded it in terms of the marbles we're using. We're using onyx and stones that are incredible. But it'll be something really spectacular. I'm looking at Mr. Steve Wynn, who's over there. He built a spectacular building, and he knows Trump builds a spectacular building. I build better buildings than him. I don't care what he said. But Steve is over here, and he really, with his incredible wife, Andrea. And thank you both for being here. Andrea's on the board, and Steve is so in love with his wife, he asked whether or not he could come. And I can say the same thing for the great Bob Kraft. He's got a wife that's so wonderful. He said, "Do you think I could come?" She didn't have to accept that, you know. She could have said no. But Bob said, "I would like to come." So, Bob, we will not let you vote, although his vote would be a good vote. He will vote for the proper thing. But it's good to have you both here. These are two great couples that know a lot about the things I'm talking about, like fixing, whether it's building a stadium or building a building. They know how to do it. So thank you, Steve, very much. But we made incredible strides over the past year. If you remember, I said I want to run it for a year just to see, because the place is falling down. It's horrible. Air conditioning, heating is going to be ripped out in its entirety, and it needs new. It's old. It's, how many years is it, Rick? What's the total? 50, almost, yeah, over 50. And we have 50-year-old air conditioning, more than that actually, and it's in bad shape. Everything's in bad shape. It's got to be redone. So I said, let's run it for a year just to see how it works. It's better than, you can't just go into something and try and figure it out. And we figured it out over the year. And you have to close it, putting new marbles in, beautiful, beautiful marbles. When you do marbles, you can't have people walking over the marble every night as it's drying and setting. And
a lot of questions guys are asking about what is the war all about, what's going on, this, that, and the other. What happened? Did CNN not tell you why we're going to war? We've had Trump and almost everyone in his cabinet explain why we're doing what we're doing abroad 100 or more times. So your CNN and MSNBC forgot to tell you or forgot to show you that footage? Is that what happened? Some of you told him why we went to war. There's a lot of reasons why we went to war. There's a lot of reasons why we are performing a rescue mission. There's a lot of reasons why we are disarming a nation and we are preventing a future war. And we are freeing people that have been wanting to be freed from a tyrannical government. For 50 years, they've been protesting. I don't know where you've been. If you woke up yesterday, if you were born yesterday, at least now we can help you understand a little bit. But they have been terrorizing the world. They have created all of these terror groups around the world, not just funding them. They actually created them. You can chat GPT it yourself if you want. You can ask your chat right now, who created Hezbollah? Did the Islamic regime create Hezbollah? Has the Islamic regime been funding it? And even your left-leaning chat will tell you the answer to that. Who created the Houthis? Who's funding and who's doing all this for Hamas? Who has been doing all of that nonsense for Hamas to terrorize not just the Jews, but everyone else? Who has been brainwashing the left to fall in love with terrorism, terrorist Islam ideologies and hate Jews? Why do you think you hate Jews right now? Why do you have blind hate for Jews right now? Why? Because Islam and the Islamic regime of Iran learned that that their money is better spent brainwashing you to follow their ideology. Instead of spending their money on weapons, they spend their money on brainwashing you. And what have they been doing all this time? All these years while you've been sleeping, walking around saying, let's tax the rich so I can get more free stuff so I don't have to work. Yeah, while they're brainwashing you to go walk around and act like a moron, they've been infiltrating not only our country, but all Western countries, which is who they vow to avenge. That's why we're at war. That's why we're doing that. So, you guys are now asking, why Venezuela? Where were you? Where were you when the whole entire administration was explaining, and I don't know how many times, why we went to Venezuela? And everyone else online, where were you? You're just sitting in your echo chamber, CNN echo chamber, the Trump man bad echo chamber. Where were you guys? Yeah. Well, you stumbled on my account and on my video, my live video, and now you're hearing something outside of your echo chamber. Congratulations. I actually applaud you. Welcome to the live.
Going to a play. So we thought the best way, what I know best in the world is construction. The best way to do it is close it, do it properly, and reopen it, have a grand reopening. And when it's finished, it's going to be far better than it was when it was originally built. When it was originally built, it was good. It has one thing that's very good. It has great sound. I think there's a lot of luck in sound. You have some of the big opera houses. I don't want to get involved with saying which one, but in New York is an...
Guys, we're giving them like extra trigger today. They got the Trump, they got the MAGA hat. I got the MAGA hat here. We got Trump. It's double trouble, guys. They're going to lose. They can't even think straight when they see this hat, bro. They're losing it.
Example.
And now imagine they see the Trump hat and Trump.
The acoustics were never good, and they've ripped it apart 4 times and rebuilt it, and it was never good. The good thing about the Kennedy Center, the acoustics are good, and they'll only be enhanced based on what we're doing. A lot of it has to do with the stones and the stones you use, the marbles you use, etc. Over the past year.
I love it. Look, we still got free. Bro, whoever said free Palestine, you're like 6 months too late, bro. That's already... You guys don't even know where Palestine is. It's not even a place. You don't even know. Welcome to the live. Thank you, guys. I wanted to laugh today.
We've made incredible strides.
It's Monday. I could use it, bro. I got to go to the gym, too, after this. So we're going to get on with this, and we're going to go run to the gym.
To restore the true purpose and prestige that this building will soon gain, I think, at a higher level than it had before. Together, we're going to...
I just explained it. I like this question. Someone said, why asking China for help? Again, this is a beautiful strategy, beautiful tactic. He's done this before. We saw what happened when he did this before. He asks countries for help. He sends out feelers. These are all kind of tests, and we kind of see where people are at. It's a wonderful way to do that. People have interests in these locations and in some of the things that we're doing. And it's nice to, put out these feelers and figure out which country sits where. We learned right away the UK decided that it does not want to help when we started this war. So now we're doing more of these kind of tests. And it's really nice to see where all these chips fall.
Ensure it remains the finest and will become the finest performing arts facility.
You guys are asking why defending PDFs, and you guys keep talking about PDFs. You guys are in love with PDFs, and everyone knows what I'm talking about. And you guys are talking about Epstein files. And the question, you should take that same question, ask yourself that. Ask all of your CNN friends and all your Democrat friends, ask them, why are you guys doing it? Because it seems to me the majority of Epstein is Democrat. Trump was the only one that came out and said, I don't like this guy, get him out of my property. Yeah.
Anywhere in the world. It's got the location.
You guys should ask yourselves what's up with Epstein files. That's what you should do. It's all from all the stuff we see is Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, all these other Democrats. You go ask yourselves.
It will have the building. It's got good bones. It's got good structure.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Welcome to my live. You stumbled on my channel, and I'm glad to have you. It's not your echo chamber. Congratulations. You're broadening your horizons.
Again, they wanted to originally cover the exposed steel. It was painted a cheap gold, and we turned it into a very...
You guys are just mad because our president, the one and only, the Great White Hope.
The Great White Hope.
Is the only one that did anything about the files, the Epstein files. You guys did nothing. You guys sat on it for how many presidents? And we're the ones that showed it to you. We're the only ones that came. Right here, you see that hat, bro, right there? We're the ones that came out and said, by the way, here's the files. Let's go.
expensively painted white.
Yeah, that's right. That's why we say Great White Hope. Look.
The Great White Hope. The Great White Hope.
That's right. That's right.
Heavy coat of very...
Go ask yourselves. Go ask yourselves. Why didn't our presidents do it? Why did this Trump, the guy that we hate, why did he do it? That's what you should ask yourselves. That's what you should do. Go ahead. Go hit up your. Oh, let me adjust that.
Powerful
go ask
white.
Go ask your Democratic leaders. Why did we have to wait for Trump to do it? Why didn't you guys do it? You guys should hold yourselves accountable. Maybe you'll stumble upon better leaders, and they'll do better for you and help you win elections instead of these clowns that came in here and told you, no, everything's perfect. I won't change a thing. My name is Kamala Harris, and I have no idea what's going on. Vote for me because I'm black. And, I might be Indian. I might be black. I'm not sure. And, by the way, I'm a woman. So you have to vote for me. And if you don't, you're misogynistic. Do that.
It meant for steel, exposed steel, a very different kind of paint, but it's almost like putting a stone over the top of it. And the color is white, shiny white.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah, that's what you should ask yourselves. How come that happened? Get yourself some better leaders, dude.
And it looks a lot.
You can do better. I have faith in you guys. A little bit, not a lot, but I do have a little faith. Come on, you can do it.
People have commented, it looks so much.
Ask more from your Democratic leaders, bro. It's better for the country. This is honestly, it's not good for the whole country to have garbage leaders that don't do nothing. Like, think of I ask you guys this all the time. Can you guys think of a good plan that the Democrats have? Any great ideas that they've come up with? No, it's just Trump bad. That's it. That's it. You should demand more from your leadership. You really should. You really should. It's better for our country, honestly. It'll make our whole country better. We need greatness from both sides, not just one side.
Better. Before they had the steel painted gold, and the gold was very cheap. There's actually never been a paint that's made that will look like gold. Steve will tell you that. You either gold leaf it or use real gold bullion, or you use a different color, Steve. Nobody's ever been able to make a gold paint that looks real. Little minor thing for the media. I'm sure you're thrilled with hearing that. But there's never been a paint. I said someday I'm going to discover a paint where you don't have to actually use gold leaf. Gold leaf is a very, very big and expensive process, but it's a beautiful thing, but not when you use paint. So we got rid of the gold columns, which looked always terrible. They looked cheap and they looked fake, very much like the media, actually. And we took the columns and we painted them white. Before we painted them, Matt, very importantly, we structuralized them. We replaced bad steel that was very badly rusting. I mean, these are columns that are holding up a building. And we had to replace areas of columns that were actually rusted out because it was in very bad shape. It's not even describable how bad this building was.
Oh, shoot. We're about to hit 18,000 subscribers on YouTube. If you guys hit that button, we'll get to 18 in 2 seconds.
Both inside and out. I want to thank Rick.
We got like 1,200 people alive right now with us on YouTube. We got 50 people. Oh, now 24 people on Instagram. And I haven't looked at the other platforms, but thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for joining.
Grinnell, but you really did a great job, Rick, on this, and we appreciate it. I'm looking for your next venture, because he really was. There was a story he got fired. He didn't get fired. He was here for a short period of time, for a year, figuring it out with Matt and everybody else. And Matt now is going to take over, and he's a pro at construction, great at construction. And I think Matt would like to run the facility too. He's fallen in love with it. And I think he'd do a good job. But if I don't think he will do a good job, I'll say, Matt, you're fired.
Yeah, I have a couple of you guys mentioning Germany. We got England. There's Australia. A lot of these countries are now finally starting to stand up for themselves. And yeah, that's right. They're going to get their countries back. Some of them seem too far gone. UK and some of these other countries may have been too far gone. Australia was super woke, but Australia is waking up. They're waking up from the woke. So they're coming back. I feel like I was just talking to some Australian people yesterday while I was out and about and on Sunday, and they think it looks bright. So hopefully Australia can get their country back. A lot of people say UK is too far gone. That's to be determined. I feel like they're I don't know. It's tough when you have the mayors of every major city, like London's mayor, all the major cities in UK are Muslim. The person that's in charge of national security for the country is a Muslim, and Muslims they hired and they've put Muslims throughout all of their different cabinets and whatever you want to call it. All the people that work under them are all Muslim. As many as that could, without going too crazy. So people will say they're too far gone, but it's to be determined. We'll have to see about that. A lot of people are concerned about Canada. In America, we're concerned about some of our cities. Minneapolis, Minnesota has been a major problem, but I think we're getting to the bottom of that. We're getting to the bottom of a lot of cities. LA is a problem. California in general, where I am. I'm in Southern California. California in general is a problem. By the way, it's 10:50. It's 11 a.m. in California. And
I'm getting somebody else. So you're under no pressure, Matt, okay? It's like Bob.
Canada has been an ally, but guess what? So was UK. UK was one of our best allies. We had agreements. Every time they needed us, we were there. But guess what? This last time, where were they? We said, hey, dude, we need your help. And they said, nah, Starmer, your weak leader, Keir Starmer, decided he doesn't want to help their age-old friend, their brother in arms. They didn't want to do it. That's unfortunate. Canada was great, was a great ally of ours, and they still are. We love Canada. We love you. We love everybody. But you guys can't be kind of flip-floppy, here today, gone tomorrow, and wishy-washy. It's not cool. It's not cool. We're going to remember that, and hopefully you can get leaders that can straighten it out, because it's not looking good.
Kraft, if a football player doesn't perform well, typically you will fire him immediately, Bob. Do you ever let them stay around for 4 or 5 years if they're bad? Not too many times, right? So anyway, I learned from you. So I want to thank also Attorney General.
Okay, so where are we at on this? Oh, dude, we're a couple away from 18K. That's awesome, guys. Thank
Pam
you.
Bondi, who's been fantastic. I don't know, is Pam here someplace? Oh, hello, Pam. Good. She's been great. And
Pam
the
Bondi.
Speaker of the House, he's got the easiest job of anybody in government. He's got a majority of 2. I don't like to say 1 because
18K, guys, 18K. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. That's right, baby. That's right. Thank you guys for coming, even though you may be on the left and you just stumbled on this. As I said earlier, I wasn't kidding. I'm happy to have you guys, and I'm glad that you're not in your echo chamber, so we can exchange ideas and talk about some of these things that are, they seem like they divide us, but we do agree on a lot of stuff. We disagree on a lot of stuff too. We don't. A lot of, I think most of our country doesn't want men and women's sports, doesn't want men and women's bathrooms. Most of our country doesn't want our borders to be wide open and for us to get destroyed by illegal immigration. Most of our country does not want all of our immigrants that come into our country to go right away on food stamps and welfare. That's hopefully not the type of immigration you guys want for our country. I think all of America does not want immigrants that as soon as they step foot on our soil, they're on our welfare system. You know, we're supposed to get good immigrants that are helpful to our country, that are smart, that are eager to learn, eager to grow, eager to live out the American dream, the real American dream, not this other American dream that has become the reality, unfortunately. The real American dream is you come here and the sky's the limit. As long as you have good intentions, you're a good person, you do great things, you want to be an achiever, you can achieve. You don't want to be an achiever, you don't have to, but if you do, you can achieve a lot. You can get far in our country, more than any other country in the world. But unfortunately, we have been inundated and we have been crushed by this new American dream of we're going to go in there and live off the taxpayers' money. That's not cool. So, you know, we just need to kind of, again, it's good to have everyone so we can share these perspectives and understand where we're at. These are, I think, some places we can all agree. I don't think any of us actual like Americans who love this country want people coming here, the majority of people coming here going on welfare and using our welfare money. That's not conducive to a great economic growth or a growth of a country based on immigrant. Like you guys, oh, immigrants make countries better. No, that's not that. So we all agree, I would say on that. We all agree we want less crime. You know, if you're someone that says no, I don't want criminals to go to jail. I don't want criminals to have to face consequences. That's kind of weird. So a lot of us want less crime. We don't want to be a third world nation, and a lot of us want more prosperity. We want lower inflation. A lot of us want a better economy. A lot of us want more jobs in America, good jobs. A lot of us want what else? Again, some of these things I mentioned earlier, which the Democratic Party is allergic to, and it's sad to see. But you guys should push your leadership and get more out of your leadership so we can get more out of our country. You really should. You really, really should. They should make it, you guys should push your leadership so you can, as I said, you will win elections because these are 80-20, some cases 90-10 ideas. You know, 90% of the country says, yes, that's what we want to. You know what I mean? Or 80% says, yeah, that's what we want that too. So you should ask for that. You should push for that. You guys would have won this last election. Kamala Harris, as horrible as she was and still is, as horrible as Tampon Tim was and still is, and he may be in trouble. But as horrible as those two candidates were, you guys had a lot of people voting because of her gender, Kamala's gender, because of her supposed race. We're still figuring out what that is. And but you could have won if you would have ran on things that the majority of the people of America wanted, which are a lot of these things. You guys went the opposite way. You guys allowed them to lead you, you know, with the opposite ideas. They were like, no, we so anyway, and they had no way. They gave us no inkling. There was no thought of we're gonna fix the border. We're gonna fix immigration. We're gonna stop immigration. They didn't do that. They could have won this last election if they just mentioned the fact that they're gonna take care of the problem and stop immigration and all that kind of stuff. They never did. They could have won it. It was a slam dunk. it was a piece of cake, dude. Honestly, this last election was the easiest election for Kamala to win, but she just could. You guys just could not get them to agree to even say. Even imagine, even if they didn't do it, if they just said they'll do it, because Democrats are really good at, we're going to elect us or we're going to do all this stuff for you, and then they come in the office and then they destroy the country, let in millions and millions of undocumented people. We don't even know who they are, where they are. They even these people came in here, separated themselves from their children, and all this kind of stuff on their own. They did all this crazy stuff, and we're like, wow. So I would say, yeah, ask more from your leaders, guys. And thanks for joining the channel. Thanks for subscribing, and stick with us. Come back and let's talk more about this kind of stuff. But again, guys, we have a better country if both sides are strong. Right now, the Democrat side they're hanging on to the fringe red hairs and blue haired people with the bull rings in their noses, and these people that are paid by Soros on the streets. I have something really, really funny that I'm going to mention. I saw this the other day. Jordan Peterson, which a lot of people on the left hate because he told them to go clean their rooms. They hate this guy because of that. Anyway, Jordan Peterson said, do you know how he was able to stop having protesters show up to his talks that he gives? This is funny. I like this. Those are really good. He found a way to stop protesters from, these crazy protesters the paid protesters to, come out and do all this stuff. You know how he got them to stop? He held his talks earlier in the morning. These people, they're so lazy, they can't get up that early. So he literally started doing his discussions, his talks, all the speeches, all the stuff. He's like, book them early. Let's go. Even paid protesters didn't want to wake up that early. It's so funny. It's so good.
It varies, but between 1, 2, and 3. And I think you're the only man that's ever lived that's able to be very happy about
see
it.
you later.
In fact, when we get up to 3, every once in a while we get up to 3. Actually, for a period of time, we actually had it up to 4. And then we had a death. And death is very bad when you're the speaker and you have a majority of 2 or 3. But we had a death, and then we had another death, and we had some things, and it's... but we're looking very strong.
Look at the hate for Jordan Peterson. The guy that said all he said, get your own house in line, get your room and clean up your room in the morning, fix your bed, basic stuff. Another thing that they hated Jordan Peterson for. Jordan Peterson came out and said, men are not horrible. And the people went crazy. Oh no. They're like, oh, let's not, bash all of our boys and our men in our world. It's not healthy. They're okay, They went nuts. They go, no, that's horrible. Don't say that.
We had one man who was very ill. It looked like he wasn't going to make it. I don't know. I won't mention his name. Should I? Do other people know his name? Do you want to mention it? He'll be proud. Go ahead. Tell him the story.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. President. Congressman Neil Dunn of Florida had some real health challenges, and it was very serious, and had a pretty grim diagnosis. And I mentioned it to the president, and I said, Congressman Dunn is a real champion and a patriot because he's still coming to work. And if others got this diagnosis, they would be apt to go home and retire. And
what was the diagnosis?
It was, I think it was a terminal diagnosis.
He would be dead by June.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay, that's it was grim. That's what I was going to say. I don't think
with a heart problem, by the way. This was a heart problem.
Right. So, the long story short, the president called him to encourage him and thank him, and they had a conversation. And the president mentioned in the course of the conversation, you know how to get my doctors involved, and they did. And within
Nurse Terry, yeah, this is subscriber only mode. Can you believe it? It's this wild into subscriber only mode, but it's okay. As I said, I'm glad to have people come on out of their echo chambers and stumble on my channel and give us their 2 cents, because we want to see what these people are all about, and they should see what we're about. And I'm glad that they are. You know, it's great. It's great. You know, they wouldn't see it otherwise. So I'm happy for it. It's all right. Let them come. Let them say their piece, and we can tell them what's up, and we can go back and forth and learn a little bit. But by and large, you may not think so, but most of the country agrees on a lot of the stuff. It's just these media channels that are, you know, that have basically taken control of their minds, that tell them that no, we got to keep pushing for this. Oh, look, this person is misogynist. Look, this thing about women's rights. Look, they're being racist. Look, they're doing this. Oh, look, you know, Trump is like that. And it's all the nonsense that they hear from their side. They don't hear all the other stuff. They don't hear all that stuff. Oh, hey, you know what? Actually, majority of the country agrees on immigration. You know, they don't want illegal immigration. Most of the country agrees on. They don't tell you all that. They'll sneak in a couple little things just to make sure they're correct in some case where they don't get sued. But they're not going to come out and show you, hey, by the way, we actually agree with, you know, what Trump is doing. We agree with the fact that he, you know, fixed the border. We agree with the fact that the economy is objectively better. Not subjectively. The economy is objectively better. They don't come out and tell you that, you know, but it's true, and it's good to hear it once in a while. So that's why I'm going to let you know. You can go look up all these numbers. You can go look up percentages and polls and whatever you want to look up.
The number of hours. They took him to Walter Reed, emergency surgery. The man has a new lease on life. He acts like he's 30 years
Apteen, what's up, buddy? Good to have you, man. Good to have you. Rooting for you, buddy.
younger, and he walked into the conference meeting.
I know you didn't make it, but we got more to do. We got more to do, bro. Good to have you.
A ghost, and I spoke with him over the weekend, and he's encouraged and thankful, and he thanks the president for his leadership and intervention. And thank you.
He
It's
actually
amazing.
called Mike called me and he said, "Sir, we're up by 3, but we're going to lose 1 by June." I said, "Who?" Neil Dunn. He's a great congressman.
Thank you, bro. Love you too, man. We got to get together. Maybe you do a little, some type of podcast, or just have you come on and as a guest sometime. Love to get your perspective. You're welcome to jump on today, bro. I can bring you on, but if not, I know you're probably busy too. But maybe we'll do it some other time.
Incredible. He called to
Yeah, we are gonna win the war. It's already pretty much done, bro. But we just got to make sure there's no more. We're pulling out the Islamic regime by the root. So it's gonna take a little bit of time to do that, and then at some point we're gonna get to the point where the people themselves are gonna take control of the country, and it'll be over.
say that he was terminal, really bad heart. There's nothing they can do. I said, that's bad.
Definitely Magba Khamenei, the next Khamenei, Magba Jomhuriye Islami. Yes, and Javid Shah, Payende Iran. It's happening, bro. We're doing it. We're doing it.
Number 1, it was bad because I liked him. Number 2, it was bad.
Exactly. Sorry, I keep pausing. You guys know me. My favorite part of my live streams is talking to my chat. And so that's why I just want to keep absolutely. Joshua, agree, bro. Goodbye IRGC. Goodbye Ayatollah. No more religious clerics, bro, to run the country of Iran. Iran will be one of the first countries in the world to openly reject Islam because of what that government has done to the people. They're going to openly reject Islam. You're going to see it. Yeah.
Because I needed his vote. But he really said, Mike, I'm going to last this out.
Yeah, bro. You're. Let me know, bro, if you want to jump on. If you feel like jumping on today, you can. If you want to jump on another time, you can do that as well, man. Anytime. Glad to have
For
you.
the president and you, and however long I live, I mean, it looks like June is the time, but however long I live, I'm going to be voting for you. I mean, how many people are going to say that? Most of them are going to say, Mike, I'm retiring immediately. That's the end.
He's an extraordinary
But
man.
he didn't do that. It was really impressive. And then
someone says this dude is brainwashed. Okay, bro. So tell me how I'm brainwashed. Here again, the people that want men and women's bathrooms, they want to tell us about the economy, about wars, and all this kind of stuff. I love it, bro. It's so good. Go ahead, bro. Tell us. Let us know. Come on.
I realize I have doctors in the White House. The White House doctors are incredible. And they've helped me with other people. They're helping me with people right now. People that are very sick are like they're miracle workers. And I said, I have to call them. And I called the two doctors. They're both great. And they immediately went over to see the congressman. And he was on the operating table like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
And it was a long operation. They gave him more stents and more everything that you could have. I think he's got everything that you could possibly have. And they called up. They said, sir, I think he'll be fine. I see.
So if you guys want to see, we just hit 18,000 subscribers on the stream, and we're at 1841. Thank you for subscribing, guys. We got 800 people on YouTube Live, and we got a bunch more on Instagram and all over here and there. And so if you're watching on Instagram and you want to jump into a really lively chat, you can jump on YouTube. I have the vertical on YouTube. That one, I have two on YouTube. One is horizontal, one is vertical. If you go to the vertical, there's right now 810 people on. So you can jump in to see a really lively chat and duke it out with some other people that that are definitely far left. Aptine, if you want to jump on real quick and just say what's up, happy to have you. I can send you a link on maybe Instagram Messenger.
He said, I think he'll be fine. And Mike was telling me the story that the other day he came into a meeting for the first time in a long while. Go ahead.
Well, it was incredible. I mean, he has a new lease on life. He has more energy than a man half his age, and very encouraged and encouraged all of us. So, again, a testament to great leadership. And my hat's off to Neil Dunn and his beautiful wife and family. He's an extraordinary individual.
And just, because I don't want to have a terrible story about this, I did it for him first and for the vote second. But it was a close second, actually. But I did it for the vote second. All right? I want to also introduce Susie Wiles, who's fantastic. She's our chief of staff. And she's an amazing person, an amazing fighter. And she announced a minor difficulty, which will be in good shape. Good shape.
I just sent you the link, bro, for the kind of live. You can just jump on real quick and say hello to the group and say what's up, man. Glad to have you.
He'll be around for a long time. She had a diagnosis. You probably saw it, and she's going to take care of it immediately. She said, "Let's do it now." I said, "Do it immediately," because with that particular ailment, the faster the better. That's it.
What's up, buddy? Can you hear me?
Yeah, hey brother, how you doing? Sorry, I'm super casual. I figured I'd match your hat.
No, you're good. Love you, man. I appreciate it. Hell yeah. Good. I love the hat.
Thank you.
You're on live now.
It's good to be on with you.
Let me see if I can get a better image. Let's see if I could do a tall one. Maybe. There you go. Okay. So there's a better image right there. Let me do a little edit there so we can fit you in. Nice hat, dude. Love the hat. Good to have you on live.
Thank you. Great to be on, man. It's been such an amazing experience. I actually have a meeting today at 6 o'clock with the Dallas County Republican group, and they're all still working on the election. So I'm going to go over there and help. And the chairman of the Dallas County Republican, Colonel Allen West, just put out a release about that gentleman that was murdered, that was killed in that one of the attacks. His name was Lieutenant Colonel Brandon Shaw. So I reposted that. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, this Islamism is growing, and people like you, people like me, that we've seen it firsthand. And I don't care if someone's going to call me a racist. All these Pakistanis are like, "Oh, you're racist." I'm like, listen, Pakistan was part of my country, Persia. It's not about race. It's about an ideology. You guys are getting paid, and I got all these bots from Pakistan attacking me. And you just have a backwards ideology. We're the same race. There's no difference in race. So it's not a racist thing. This is about an ideology, a backwards ideology. And, for the people that, even want to barely even question the success, just like the same people that talk about, communism and Marxism and socialism, they've failed. Everywhere they've been tried, they've been failed. And guess where? The first country in the world ever to try this hypothesis of having an Islamic Republic, it happened. For 47 years, it happened. It took a country that had the ninth largest GDP in the world, had the fourth largest military in the world, the third or fourth largest air force in the world. And look what just happened. They just got pummeled by the United States because of the mismanagement. And imagine the billions and trillions of dollars that these idiots stole. And the whole reason behind it is not because they cared about Iran or they cared about what what religion the people of Iran had. They wanted to use Iran's resources to try to go to the Islamic Caliphate, which is what Mamdani is trying to do in New York. And us Iranians, Iranian Americans, we have to ring the alarm bells. We have to let the world know. Like we moved to California when we first moved to the U.S. And then my dad's like, we're too close to these Islamists. We got to get away from them. So we came to Texas. There was not a shred of evidence of them here. And 31 years later, they're here and they're trying to
Well,
build
that
this big
the,
Islamic communities. And now we got to fight. There's
well,
there's
you're
nowhere else
absolutely
to
right.
hide.
I was saying earlier on the stream that, dude, the Islamic regime has been doing this. They learned, bro, early on that their money is better spent brainwashing the West as opposed to building weapons to fight the West. So,
That's right.
not that it stopped them from building weapons, they're still doing that, but they also learned that their money is really well spent brainwashing everyone and creating, doing, going after their Muslim caliphate that way. And so they've done
Right.
a very good job of it. They've done a great job in Europe, and they're making good headway in America and United States. And we're seeing that. And look at New York, our biggest city is already they're literally they did Muslim prayer in City Hall, which we're supposed to have separation of church and state. So it's just it's mind blowing to see it in real
Do
time.
you remember when Trump was in office the first time and they were, criticizing him because he walked across the street to a church and did a prayer, and now they're having iftar dinner on the floor, and like we're going back to 1400 years ago where they didn't have chairs and tables, and they're sitting on the ground like peasants and using their hands to eat food. We have utensils. There's no reason to use your hands like peasants, but and then here's another thing. I mean, the reason that and Mamdani doesn't have good intentions. I just thought he was an idiot, but he's not an idiot. He has terrible intentions. And you know why they chose New York? Even though, New York doesn't have a military or power for them to go attack Israel, New York has a $127 billion a year annual budget. That's a bigger budget than most European countries. So what he's there is trying to basically use these funds to do bad things. And we're well aware of it. Most of us from the Iranian American community were well aware of it because this is exactly what they did in Iran. They took that, like,
100%.
listen, the Islamic government just spent $6 billion in Japan to try to turn Japan Muslim, and they failed. They converted one guy who was from Bhutan. Imagine how many people in Iran are starving. They don't have any food, and then their government spending $6 billion to turn Japan. Like, why do we care about Japan being Muslim? Why does anyone care about Japan being Muslim?
The Islamic regime cares about the whole world becoming Muslim, and so, but
Yes, because they're trying to force their backwards ideology, and that's why the Quran could only be read in one backwards religion. I mean, or one backwards language, which is Arabic. Arabic is missing 4 letters. The Persian alphabet, which they borrowed, has 26 letters. Arabic alphabet has 22. So how can the most perfect religion have this alphabet that's backwards that doesn't even have four of the letters that the Persian alphabet does?
yeah, it just
And by the way, it could only be read in Arabic because if people actually understood what they read, they would be out with pitchforks and be like, "What the heck is this that we signed up for?" So people just
absolutely.
memorize and say this demonic gibberish that they don't even understand. And we experienced it. We saw it firsthand. Our parents saw it firsthand.
Yep. And you're right. They tried this in Iran. They literally, went after this, and look what happened. They destroyed not only the country and destroyed the economy. They they went out and created all of these proxy terrorist groups, and it's an absolute nightmare. They, as you said, they went in there and and that's what they promised. Mamdani literally did what the Ayatollahs did when he went in. He promised all this free stuff so that he can get in. Once he got in, now all of a sudden he's charging the very people that he was trying to help. He's charging them more taxes. And so it's the same thing the Ayatollahs did. They went into the country saying, we're going to give you free water, free electricity, free this, free that. Why should people that are overachievers have good things? You should have them too. And that's what Mamdani said. Let's tax the rich to give to the poor, or to give to free, buses or whatever it is. And he just got in. He just got into office, and he's already bumping up. He's planning to bump. He's like, oh shit! Looks
Well,
like
there's no free parking anymore. Like in New York. Listen, I lived in New York for 9 years. And the parking is really expensive. It's like $400 or $500 a month to park in a garage. So sometimes it's a cat and mouse game. You can find street parking, but the street parking is only between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. After that, you got to go find, or actually the other way around. It's 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. After that, you got to go find somewhere and park. So it's a cat and mouse game to find parking. But there's people that can't afford $500-600 a month. So what they do is they play this cat and mouse game, and sometimes they park their car 4 blocks from their home. It's a nightmare. It's New York, but that's just the way people live, right? That's the reality. Now Mount Downey is saying no more free parking. So that basically the people that need that money the most, the people that can't afford $500-600 a month parking for a parking garage. Now he's saying, screw you. That's an additional tax. When they charge you for
It
parking that
is.
used to be free, that's a tax. So
It
they're just
is.
taxing everybody. And people should be wary because in the state of California, and I saw this in Philadelphia, they used to call this the millionaire tax. It's just stupid. Anytime you sell any property over $1 million, which by the way, you have a low income apartment complex, each unit costs 100 grand, but because the total apartment complexes cost more than $1 million, they call it a millionaire tax. These are the poorest people that are paying this tax. It's a 6% tax in Philadelphia, in the city of Philadelphia. They're doing this now in New York. They're calling it a billionaire tax. Let me tell you, there's 41 million people that live in the state of California. Only 200 of them are billionaires. You think the entire state legislature of California is going through all of this trouble to create a tax for 200 people? No, they're after the money of the other 41 million. It's just another stupid name, another fake name, just like Netflix, screws everybody on the internet and created this concept of net neutrality. Net neutrality is the exact opposite of net neutrality. Net neutrality means that you have to subsidize the internet that Netflix uses because of this concept of net neutrality that they started. It's all of these terms are all just stupid marketing tools. And what you said was actually beautiful. These people are very sophisticated. These mullahs are very sophisticated, which means that they got help from the outside. These communist organizations, these communist the Democratic Socialists of America that are behind Mamdani and that were behind Ayatollah Khomeini, they're very sophisticated. These illiterate towelheads cannot do this on their own. So who are these sophisticated billionaires that are behind them that are doing this, and what motivation do they have? And that's what our youth needs to wake up to. That's what we need to pay attention to, because even though these people are dumb, they have a lot of very sophisticated, smart people behind them. And there's a major crime. There's major dollars behind this crime that they're trying to do because they're trying to steal money from something. And this is the people that they're unleashing on us. So we look the other way and they could steal big billions of dollars.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think some related to that is the fact that we talked about this earlier. They basically are not down for the cause because here's my thing. The hard part that we have, the uphill battle, is that they're not down. For example, you said, let's teach them. We saw it happen in Iran. We saw all this stuff go down in Iran for 47 years. We tried this out. It didn't work. This whole socialism, communism, Islam, and so the problem that we have, though, when we try to show people, hey, man, we're Iranian, here's what happened, is that they hate Trump so much that because Trump said, I'm going to go help them, they're completely against it and they don't even want to hear it. Because Netanyahu said, I'm going to go help them, they are completely against it. They don't hear anything we say as Iranians. They don't want to hear about hey, man, this is what happened. This is how this kind of played out for us. They don't want any of that. That's the hard part.
Well, it doesn't fit their narrative, right? Look at all the
Right.
people that were paid protesters for Gaza, and then somewhere between 30 to 50,000 children got slaughtered, and nobody cared.
Yeah.
And by the way, the people that died in Gaza, there are people that died in Gaza. By the way, that the receipts are the Islamic Republic. The Islamic Republic used these poor people in Gaza as the human shields, and there were 67,000 people that died. And then they found out 57,000 soldiers were missing. So what does that mean? That means that 67,000 people that died in Gaza, 57,000 of them were soldiers that were hiding behind these people. And the other 10,000 that were killed, they were responsible for because they were using them as human shield. Anytime, innocent people die, it breaks our hearts. But these are the same people that, the Israelis wanted to make peace and give the Palestinians their own deal. Bill Clinton came and said, the Israelis had agreed to give up all of Gaza and 97% of the West Bank. And the Palestinians said no. And do you know why the Palestinians said no? Because the Palestinians don't make their own decisions. The Islamic Republic of Iran makes their own decisions for them.
Correct.
So the Islamic Republic of Iran has blood on their hands. And I have Palestinian friends and they're so upset and they get so bent out of shape. And and listen, for them to be against this freedom of Iranian movement doesn't break our heart. It makes us, resent them. But they're also innocent. They're also getting screwed. They just don't know who's the people that are screwing them. It's not Israel that's screwing them. It's the Islamic Republic of Iran. Israel wanted to give them their own piece of land and be done with it. Bill Clinton came and admitted to that. Said, "Hey, listen, they were going to give you all of Gaza and 97% of the West Bank. You said no. You know
Yep.
why they said no? Because Iran wouldn't let them. Because the Islamic
Yep.
Republic wouldn't let them.
Because Islamic Republic, it owns Hamas.
100%. They
They,
they kill and replace every one of their leaders they don't agree with. But hey, how funny is this this whole Mojtaba coming out as LGBTQ
bro, is
jihadi?
that real?
This is hilarious. It
Is
has
it
to be
real?
because,
Bro, it's
but
crazy. That's wild. So just so you guys
all of
know,
these
if you guys
mullahs are.
you guys don't know, Mojtaba Khamenei is the son of the prior supreme leader, who is now the supreme leader, who is supposed to be in a coma, but we don't know if is he in a coma. He's not. Anyway, turns out that he's gay, which in Iran, or what they say, they're all completely against. And remember, these are the people that throw people off roofs for being gay. So it turns out their supreme leader currently is gay. Do you think, is it true?
Well, there's a lot of rumors. I mean, none of this is verified, obviously, but there was a woman who was an Israeli Mossad agent who had infiltrated all the way to. She was Khamenei's assistant. She used to sit on the floor next to Khamenei, and she's Israeli, but she speaks fluent Farsi.
You're talking about
Obviously,
the
she didn't
father,
catch up.
Khamenei,
Yeah, the father Khamenei,
the father.
and yeah, the father Ali Sayyid Ali Khamenei, and she said that she got very close to him, and then she heard him say some really weird stuff, and one of the things she heard him say is that he in his mind thought he was God, and she said, and he asked her one time, he said, "Hey, do you think it's unfair that people think that I'm a murderer, that I could do genocide? A God can't do genocide." So she was shocked that in his
Wow.
in his mind he believed that he was God. He believed he was a ruler. And then the other thing that she said is that she never saw him have any kind of attraction to women. In fact, she noticed that he had attraction to little boys, and that's one of the other.
Wow.
She said he was openly gay, which is funny. I mean, not openly gay, but I think the inner circle all knew that he had very little interest in women. And now it's coming out that the son Mujtaba, and somebody even said that one of the reasons that Khamenei put in his will for his son not to be the ruler is because I guess his son was more gay than him because he was gay. So,
Wow.
but I watched this interview. This was a one of the Basij militia whistleblowers. This thing blew my mind. I mean, I see a lot of weird stuff coming out of Iran, but this is one that blew my mind. This Basiji guy, like he had changed his voice and all this, and he was saying that the Basiji guys, like before they would go out and kill people, they would have these meth parties with these mullahs, and they would get there, and it was like big orgies gay orgies between the mullahs and the Basiji guys, and they were all so cranked up on meth, and then he just thought it was weird that those same mullahs that they were in these crazy parties with, the next day these guys are in a court ruling on things, and then those same guys were out there killing people
Wow.
like nothing happened the day before. Now this is the whistleblower. Who knows if there's truth to it? But there's enough
Well,
people that keep talking about. And I saw evidence of one of the snipers that was killing people. I saw a video of him smoking meth.
oh, wow. Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of these videos that we get, we question and we wonder if they're true. I mean, I've seen videos of, a couple of years ago that where these mullahs, these clerics that are leading Iran, the Islamic clerics, were, you know, having sex with each other in hotel rooms.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Like
this
men on
explains a lot of
men
the
and like
resentment.
all this
This
other stuff. Like,
explains a lot of resentment that they have towards women, and they want to keep women down and not let women show hair, and all this resentment. There's got to be deep rooted in some kind of a psychological disorder, right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So a lot of different things are coming out of it, but the beautiful part is right now. I like the stage that we're in right now in this revolution, where they're helping out with the ground troops. They're freeing up kind of all the checkpoints and all that. What's up? Yeah. So and so they're this is the part that has been putting the most strain on people on the ground. as of now. So they're clearing that out. And it looks like we're doing very well in the war. And, a lot of people are asking in the comments where, what are we going to do? Are we going to have regime change? Are we not? What's going to happen next? And I explained to everybody, you tell me what you think. We're pulling this regime out by the roots. And I don't think there's going to be
Yeah,
any
listen,
more.
I have friends in Iran that are using like, Starlink, and they message me, and, they've had this, 7 different degrees of grief. A lot of them hated Trump. And then when they found out that Trump is actually, maybe their savior, they started liking Trump. And then when Trump didn't come save them right away, they were like, oh, we hate Trump. Then they started loving
Yes.
Lindsey Graham. And I started explaining to him, I said, listen, you have to understand, for 47 years, Iran hasn't been free. And Iranians, 90%, 95% of them want freedom. So there's got to be some powerful forces that don't want this change. And we see who those powerful forces are. Now their hands are, shown, right? It's France and England that didn't, they were controlling Iran, and they're so stupid they weren't even getting the oil. They were sending oil, Iran was selling $20 below market a barrel in oil to China. Every day they were selling 1.3 million barrels. That means every day the Chinese Communist Party was stealing $13.8 million from the poor mothers in Iran, from the starving children in Iran. This garbage Chinese Communist Party was stealing money from the mouths of Iranian people. But
Absolutely.
let me tell you, this was all about Trump. One, there's a lot of capabilities the U.S. government has, and I think, and even all this talk of UFOs, that's all U.S. military. And I think in the past, the doctrine has always been, let's keep this on the wrap. Let's not let everyone know how strong we really are. And Trump changed the whole doctrine, and he changed it with Venezuela. He said, no, let's let everybody know exactly how powerful we are, and that's a deterrent, so no one will mess with us, right? And so, when Maduro knew that the Trump administration was coming, all the guards knew they were coming. They were hidden in the castle in the middle of a military base. And then before they blinked, they came and just grabbed him like a little rat with his wife, and they took him out. That sent a message. And that was supposed to be sending a message to them, to these Ayatollahs in Iran, because Trump really wanted to try to work out a deal. And and by the way, the deal was never going to be these guys who were going to be in power. It was never going to. Trump is
Right.
smart enough. Listen, they try to assassinate Trump.
Of
Trump is
course.
not Trump is not stupid. Even if Tucker Carlson is in his ears, even if some of these other idiots that are pushing the MEK are in his ears, Trump knows. And when they tried to kill him, that made it personal. And Trump never liked them 47 years, but he knew that he had to go do this. And this is actually in his first administration. He spent all of his time bolstering the military, upgrading the nukes, bringing new weapons. And he was doing this because he knew in the second administration he was going to attack Iran, but he never knew that he was going to have to lapse 4 years before he got in second administration. But Trump understands that these mullahs have to go, and anything less than anyone that would get back in power and would give all this oil below market to China is not acceptable to Trump. And by the way, we Iranians, why is it that we Iranians all trust Reza Pahlavi, right? There's been His Imperial Majesty, Shahzada Reza Pahlavi. Why? Because he's not going to be bought. His whole family's been screwed by the leftists, by the British and the French, and he knows. He's got receipts, and he's a gentleman. He can't open his mouth the way I can open my mouth. He can't open his mouth the way you can. He can't open his mouth the way Mr.
Right.
Happy and Persian Mofsett can open up, because he's a royal,
Right.
and he has to be respectful. But he needs people like us that we're going to open our mouth and we're going to go tear these people a new, what. And
Yeah.
and he's the only one that the Iranian people are behind, because he can't be bought. Every single one of these other, even all these satellite TV stations, we thought they're on our side, and they started getting paid under the table. Listen, these Islamists, these mullahs, they have a lot of money and they corrupt. And it's really easy to get corrupted. Even somebody that doesn't mean to get corrupt. I think there's a lot of influencers out there. I called a couple of them out the other day who are pro Gaza, hating on Israel, and then all of a sudden they delete everything on their Instagram account,
They get
pretend
called
like
out.
they've been, yeah,
Yeah,
they
they get
deleted
called
everything
out,
on
then
their
they
Instagram account. And
yeah.
all of a sudden they're just and then people that haven't seen the history of their Instagram account, they're like, oh, these people are so loyal. No, they're not. They're a bunch of
Right.
fakers who are trying to get social media followers. But
Absolutely.
what makes me feel good is that Trump and Netanyahu are not going to stop short of any regime that's going to be hostile to the people of Iran, or any regime that's going to give the oil away. And anyone in the
I agree
supply
with that.
cost
And
on IRGC.
I totally agree with that. I don't think that Trump or Netanyahu or the people of Iran, I don't think any of these three will allow for the Islamic regime to continue in any way. And so that's why, I'm not just hopeful. I know it's not going to go down. We're not going to go through all of this to allow it to just, start
No,
back up again. No,
it would make him look stupider than the first George Bush, and it would make him look stupider than the second George Bush, right?
definitely.
He doesn't want to be Bush stupid. He just doesn't,
Right.
because
But
Bush made a lot of dumb mistakes.
definitely. And we keep hearing about everyone in the whole world's like, oh, look, it's going to be like Iraq again. It's going to be like that again. And it's not. But I do have one question for you that I'm curious about how you feel. I know how a lot of Iranians feel about this, but I'm curious what you think about this.
Sure.
Okay. And so the question is this: we're starting to see now more Pahlavi coming out telling us, these are the plans we have, and these are kind of the things we want to put in place for the economy and whatnot. So we're kind of seeing some things come out now. I have been talking about, some of the things that we want to see, or we may not, things we should be talking about for Iran, for the future of Iran. Let's say we get, this becomes, that we pull the Islamic Republic out by the roots. They're all gone. We come in, Pahlavi steps in, and we start developing a new government, something that's going to be great for the people of Iran and for the sovereignty of Iran. One of the main things that obviously we have freedom of speech, freedom to practice religion, freedom, all these types of freedoms, right? But we also have the big one, Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. And that's one of the things I think the Iranian people should have, going forward after we get rid of this regime, because this is one of the things, if they had the right to bear arms, if they had weapons, they could have stood up much better to this government and not gotten so many of their own people killed. What are your thoughts about that? And I don't want
So
you to.
listen, I've owned a firearm since I was 14 years old. I had a 22-inch Winchester rifle with a scope, which my parents wouldn't let me shoot until I was 18, and actually took it away from me when we moved to Texas. But I've had a concealed handgun license since I was 21. I got all kinds of weapons, and I'm a huge Second Amendment, pro Second Amendment guy. But it's interesting. So I lived in Texas. When I lived in New York, there's a lot of Republicans in New York that, even though they're Republicans, they're scared of guns and they don't care about guns. They hate guns, even though
Sure.
they're very Republican. Now in Texas, it's a little different. You have Democrats, like my brother-in-law is a Democrat, and he loves guns. He and I go shooting. Even though he's a Democrat, he believes in the Second Amendment. So some of it is cultural. People in Texas generally love guns, right? But I was in my brother or my cousin married a German guy. We were in Italy, and I was holding court, and my sister's like, please don't start this politics stuff. And it was a few Germans and French, and we were sitting there, we were talking politics, and they were generally pretty Western. They were pretty. I mean, they were pretty. Sorry, Republican. I didn't mean. They are Western. They're pretty Republican. And they asked me. They said, listen, we understand all your stuff about Trump. We understand everything. But we just don't understand you Americans and your obsession with guns. Like, what is
Yeah.
that? Like, explain that to me.
This is
And
why
I
I
said,
asked the
listen,
question, and I don't mean to
yeah,
interrupt you. This is why I'm asking this question, because it seems to me the more Iranians I talk to, the more I see they are reluctant to have a Second Amendment. They're reluctant. They're saying, well, I don't think Iran is ready to have, the right to bear arms. So that's why I was curious what your thoughts were on that. Like,
yeah. I mean, and it's funny. I was on Iran Alive Ministries, and Dr. Hormuz Shariati. He asked me the same thing. He goes, I just don't think guns are okay for that part of the world. I don't think we're responsible enough. I disagree. And the answer I gave to the my new family members that are French and German, I was explaining to them. I said, listen, the United States is the most successful country in the world, and we're having our 250-year anniversary this year because amen to that.
yeah,
Because these founding fathers were really, really smart. And they realized that we need to have a document that we worship that's not a God, that's not a religion, but and it's
yes,
not a human. We can't idolize a human being. What we idolize is a set of rules, set of ideals. And so they wrote this constitution, and it's the most successful constitution in the world because it's the long-lasting democracy in the world. 250 years. No other democracy comes even closer to it. I mean, you got to understand, even during World War II, there's only 3 democracies in the world, right? It's the US, France, and England. That was it. But we're this successful, and the reason we're this successful is because the United States Constitution says men could be corruptible. Like, listen, we've always had kings. There's a lot of really good kings, and then there's some bad kings, and it's bad because you never know. It's the luck of a draw. If you have a little Joffrey, Lannister, you're going to have a bad king, right? So
Yeah.
that's why we have a democracy. But in this democracy, we have sets of checks and balances, and that's why this democracy has been so successful. And these checks and balances are, you have the legislative branch, you have the judicial branch, and you have the executive branch, and they all check and balance each other. But people forget those are only three of the checks and balances. The most important checks and balance is the people check and balance all three of those branches, and
That's
people
right.
forget that. And that's why the United States has been successful, and that's why they're never going to be able to bring Sharia law and all this garbage here. Because if the government, those three branches of government that all check each other, if they get too powerful and they try to check the people will check them back with the Second Amendment. I think people in Iran 100% should have the Second Amendment. If Iran had Second Amendment, these mullahs wouldn't have lasted 47 years. They would have been, right after the Iran-Iraq war, they would have been out on their ass. And they lasted all these years because they held to grip of power. They brought mercenaries. They spent a lot of money to stay in power, and they killed a lot of people. And it does. Listen, if our people can't be trusted, but look, we have a lot of warriors. We have Bakhtiaris that are just born. These are born warriors. We have,
Yep.
we have the Kurds. They're born warriors. Just the same
Yep.
way that, listen, Putin is also scared of Muslims, but he's got these checks and balances on the Chechens and on the Dagestan, and those are warriors. Those are people that you do not mess with, and we have those warriors in Iran. There's a lot of people that live in the mountains in Iran that are warriors that live by the gun, who grew up by the gun, and by the way, they're armed now. But I think the rest of Iranians, they should be armed. They should have the. If we're gonna have
I
freedom, we
agree.
need to have the.
One of the things is I find I have to explain to people, Persians, Iranians, I have to explain to them why we have a Second Amendment, because when I have this conversation with them, and I purposely don't explain it up front because I want to see where they go with it, and a lot of them feel like, oh no, there's not that much crime in Iran. I go, oh, so you don't know why we actually have a Second Amendment? It's not for it's, I mean,
It's
of
not
course
about
it is.
crime. It's not for hunting. It's to check your government, and that's why the U.S. mainland's never been attacked in 250 years because the people of the United States are the second largest army in the world.
Bro, yeah, the
They
people,
are
not the military,
the
the
people.
people.
I mean, somebody was given the statistics the other day. They're like the most powerful air force in the world is the United States Air Force. They're like, do you know what the second most powerful air force in the world is? It's the United States Navy, and United States has the most powerful navy in the world. And you know who the third most powerful navy in the world is? Is the United States Coast Guard. So I mean, like, and by the way, the second largest army in the world is the U.S. population. People
That's right.
people in the U.S. that have guns. There's over a billion. There's 330 million people in the United States. There's over a billion guns in the United States. So on
Right.
average, every person in the U.S. has 3 guns.
So when I have this conversation, I then explain to them, okay, the reason why we have it is to protect ourselves against a tyrannical government. Something that that the Iranian people have been dealing with for 47 years, right? And so that would have helped you in this fight. But they still say, yeah, but I don't. This is what they say. They think the Iranian people are not ready for that yet. And my response to them is, I feel like if any people in that region are ready for a Second Amendment, it would be the Iranians. I know, you could build the argument for a lot of the other people in that region, different types of Arab countries and stuff like that. That it may not, but for Iranians, I think they could handle it. But I
Well,
was
I'm
just
going to
curious,
tell you
how
something
do
more
we?
controversial. If the people of Iran are not ready to be trusted with guns, then the people of Iran are not ready for freedom. That's just unfortunately,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something very controversial, and I love my fellow Iranians, right? I just,
Yes.
I'm very Iranian, I'm very American, I'm very Texan, and I love my fellow Iranians. But as a population, I think we have to know what our weaknesses and our strengths are. I am one of those people, like, I was explaining this. I said, the people in Iran, there's not controversy over who they think their next leader should be. The next leader should be Reza Pahlavi, by far. The only thing that we're not sure about is half of us think Reza Pahlavi should be His Imperial Majesty Reza Pahlavi. And by the way, I apologize if I call him Reza Pahlavi. When I met him when I was 18, he said, please call me Reza Pahlavi. So that's why I call him without the salutations. But half the people think we should have a democracy and he should lead us to democracy and we should have election. The other half think we should have a constitutional monarchy, which is, by the way, is a democracy. I'm one of those people that think we should have a constitutional monarchy. And the reason for that is this. Listen, I played soccer at UTD at University of Texas Dallas, and I played organized soccer, and I was the right defender, and when I went and played
That
with
so
my
was I, bro.
Persian.
I was a fullback as
You're
well.
full
So, hell yeah.
When I would go play soccer with my Iranian people, oh my God, they would drive me crazy because nobody wanted to play in team sports. They all wanted to be Maradona and go score a goal. And
Yeah.
I was just used to playing organized soccer, and I couldn't play with them, right?
Yeah.
Listen. Iran has a lot of very sophisticated CEOs. Look how so many people have created so many companies, so many CEOs, so many founders, so many billionaires, so many really, really smart Iranians, right? Iranians also are very successful in the Olympics. I mean, look, wrestling, Iranians have dominated, right? Archery, shooting, taekwondo, judo, tennis, boxing, just name all these sports that we have medals in. Do you know what sports we don't have a lot of medals in? Team sports.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I mean, we have to listen as a population, as Iranian Americans, we have to know the things that are strengths and we have to know our weaknesses.
It's funny you
Iranians are
mentioned this. I'm
generally,
gonna add
we
to
have a
this.
lot of alphas. We have too many alphas. And when
Yes,
we have too many alphas, there's not a lot of people that knew how to be a defender. There's not a lot of people that knew. So
correct.
we need to know, and look, our team sports, we don't dominate any team sports, but we dominate a lot of individual sports. So as Iranian Americans, as Iranians, we have to know what our limitations are, and
Yes.
we have to teach ourselves to work with those limitations, right? And that's why I think constitutional monarchy is going to work much better. Just the way that our population is, we have this curse and this blessing. Too many alphas.
Yes, it's very true. And here's something I've put out a couple of reels on this already. And the thing that I've seen, I'm Iran, I'm American, born in California, born and raised here, but of Iranian parents, Iranian descent, of course. And I've been surrounded by Iranians my whole life. First generation, immigrants, all kinds. And I realize, Iranians forever, they have been, when we go out to a party, we go out to an Iranian event, a lot of times we're fighting each other in these events.
Yes.
There's always a Persians trying to show another Persian how much cooler they are, or stronger they are, or whatever. And we're always fighting each other. And
We're peacocking. That's why we got the peacock throne, because we can't stop peacocking.
peacock,
And I
exactly.
love my fellow
But
Persians, and I'm guilty of that too, by the way.
correct, I am too.
All
I
of
was
us
one
are.
of the
All
biggest
of us
fighters,
are,
bro. I
right?
was running
But we
around.
have to.
I was the
But we
biggest.
have to
I was
know our
one of the biggest
limitations.
brawlers. Yeah, you're right. But here's the reel I put out the other day is because of what has happened in the last 6 to 12 months, and the last, let's just say 5 years, 10 years, with all these uprisings and everything, we have become closer. I've realized a difference lately. I've realized, how Jewish people stand behind each other, always stick together, and always help each other. And they have that. It's a great thing that they have, that they take care of each other in a way. I feel like we as Iranians are going back to that. Do you feel that too? Do you understand what I'm
I
saying?
do feel that. I do feel that, and it's been amazing. I mean, listen, I got so many. This congressional race has been so amazing, and the goal wasn't to win. I mean, the guy that's going to win it. By the way, he asked me if I could be his advisor on the Islamification of Texas. I said absolutely, and he had $5 million in money behind him from Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and some bigwigs. I knew I was going to get my ass kicked, but I went there and did it because I just thought, listen, my girlfriend's Venezuelan. She's moving here from Florida this week. And
Wow,
I'm
congrats.
Iranian, and I'm like, thank you. And I'm like, listen, this is going to be a lot of stuff going on. I told my campaign manager 4 months ago, I was like, I think something's going to happen in Venezuela, and I think something's going to happen in Iran, and I need to have a voice, and I need to get involved. And it's been such a blessing. Some of the messages that I get from people from all over the country, not just in Texas, people are just like, we support you. You're saying the things that we want to say that we can't say. And listen, I have a lot of Palestinian friends, Arab friends, Pakistani friends from all over. Listen, I'm a pretty normal guy, and I love everybody, right?
Sure.
And but we all have kind of stayed quiet and not talked about this whole threat of Islam, because we're afraid that we're going to ruffle some feathers and someone's going to be offended. But I decided 3 months ago, I'm done with that. I don't give a
There was a
damn.
long time that we couldn't talk about it,
Saving
but
our
yeah.
people should be much more important. And now there's this existential threat here in Texas and anywhere in the US with all these mosques opening. And I sent 42,000 campaign texts that said, I'm going to close down every single mosque because everybody, all of these politicians in Texas are saying, hey, this Islamification of Texas is dangerous. They're opening all these mosques. We don't know what to do. I said, listen, I'm not saying no more mosques. I'm saying I'm going to shut down all the existing mosques. And 4,000 people sent me messages, go F yourself, you're an idiot, you're a bigot, you don't know the Constitution. Listen, I'm a constitutional lawyer. I know the Constitution. And what I'm saying is, I'm not saying I'm going to stop your First Amendment right to pray to whoever you want, go pray to whoever you want. But in Article 3, before you even get to the amendments, before you get to the extra part of the Constitution, the original Constitution, the articles, Article 3 says there's only one Supreme Court, and then all the courts of the Congress sets up under the Supreme Court, and those are the courts of that are supreme in the land. And Article 6 said, the Article 6 basically continues on that. It says every other courts are illegal. Every single one of these mosques has a Sharia court, and we know how backwards Sharia is. But for our American friends, we need to explain to them how backwards Sharia is, where women are worth half as much as men. So these are completely illegal, and the government is somehow allowing them to operate, even though they're unconstitutional. And then on top of that, listen, every one of these mosques, they're building these mosques in these communities in Texas with zero Muslims. And their plan is to do an invasion. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
they're building these mosques, they're raising money for CARE, for Hamas, for IRGC, for Hezbollah. And then these sleeper cells that have all snuck in under the southern border, where do you think they go? The first place they go
To
to
a
a
mosque.
mosque, they get
Yeah.
weapons, they get money, they get set up, and these are
Absolutely.
military.
Well,
These are
just like in
military outposts.
Iran, just like in
Yes.
Iran and around the whole world, they use mosques as their places to gather to. It's like I call them military bases. They're like military
They are.
bases.
They're military outposts.
We just had a super chat, $10 super chat come in from Constellation Pegasus. He says, saw that a culture war is going on with bringing back Zoroastrian religion, possibly the oldest known one. If Iran can get back to that, Iran will be better off, I suppose. Let me put that on the screen. Any thoughts on
So
Zoroastrian?
let me tell you, listen, I went to India, and the woman I worked for a gentleman named Steve Rosenberg in New York. And the woman that I went with, she was Zoroastrian. She's a good friend, and she used to work for Steve. And when I had to put on my application, my religion, I said, I don't have a religion. She goes, no, you got to put something down. And I said, well, put Zoroastrian. She said, no. I said, what do you mean? She goes, you can't be Zoroastrian. I said, what do you mean? It's the religion of my ancestors. She goes, well, we don't accept you. We don't want you. And this woman, her mother is Zoroastrian from India, from Mumbai. Her father is Zoroastrian from Yazd. She's half Iranian, And she goes, listen, the Zoroastrian, we don't want you. You guys kicked us out and did all these atrocities. And I get it. The Zoroastrians don't want us. The only people that opened their arms with open arms and allowed me in and are praying for me are the Christians. I went to a Christian church here, Fellowship Church, and I put on a prayer card when when all these attacks were going on, where people are getting slaughtered. I put it on the prayer card. I said, please pray for Iran. And a pastor called me, and we did a prayer. He prayed for the people of Iran. He didn't ask any questions. He didn't ask, hey, are these people Republicans, Democrats? Are they pro-America? He didn't ask any of that. He just did a prayer, and no questions asked, right?
Yeah.
What I went to the East Plano Islamic Center, EPIC, the EPIC mosques, and I went there, and they had a candidate for him. And when I went there, I asked the audience, I said, I just noticed you guys did a prayer. Did you guys pray for the people of Iran? And they started booing and shouting. I said, there's 100,000 people that got killed. They're like, oh, no, you're lying about the numbers. You're
See,
Zionists,
yeah.
blah, blah, blah. I
Yep.
said, listen, I'm not asking you to pray for Christians. These people in Iran are Muslims. Did you pray for them? They're like, no. I said, why? They go, they're all Mossad agents. I said, you're telling me a 6-year-old that can't even think, that got shot in the head, a 6-year-old is a Mossad agent? So that tells
Crazy,
you
bro.
mosques are not places of worship. And these people, they hate us. They hate Iranians. Why should Iranians back these stupid mosques? And there's some Iranians that are just like, oh, this is our culture. No, it's not our culture.
It's not,
These
bro.
people
It's
invaded us.
not.
These people invaded us 1,400 years ago when they were living in the deserts and eating lizards. They invaded us, and we had a culture that was 5,500 years old. That we had poetry and art, and we had women commanders in the military. They buried the women in the desert, and then they came to Iran, to Persia, to try to teach us culture. And we've been fighting this fight for 1,400 years, but mostly the last 47 years. And we all have to be loud. No more of this Islamophobia. I'm the most Islamophobic person in the world. You know why? Because I'm scared of my daughters being raped on the street by these crazy Islamists.
Yeah.
It's a phobia. Yes, it's a phobia. It's a valid phobia, and it's not a phobia. It's a trauma. I call it Islamic trauma because
Yeah.
every single one of the people in Iran, whether you were born in Iran like me or you were not born in Iran like you have that trauma too, because you have that trauma passed on to you by stories that you've heard from your parents that had to go through this Islamic trauma. And we all have to be loud, and we got to stop being so foolish to try to, as they say in old Farsi, grow a snake in our sleeves, and we got to kill the snake and the serpent and throw them out and say enough is enough. No more being nice, and they're not going to hide behind the Constitution. They're not going to hide behind our friendliness, and especially in Texas, people are so friendly. This is a cult. This is a death cult. They want to epitomize the dying and death and destruction, and they're not interested in living peaceful. And it's not a religion. It's
Yeah.
absolutely not a religion. It's a death cult.
It really is. And one of the things that we're seeing happen right now, it just kind of shows that they're not just trying to be, a lot of people just say, why can't you just let people practice whatever religion they want? Well, it's like, okay, why do they have to come in the middle of the street in New York and pray? What is the point of that? So you have to understand there is an agenda, and people want to look past that, and they just want to virtue signaling and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is, as an Iranian, as a person that has been exposed to lots of these Middle Eastern, all kinds of people from the Middle East and the religions that come with them. You and I, we've seen this. We see the progression. We see what's happening. We're into it. We're in knee deep, and we see how it's affecting the rest of the world. And we have, bro. There's places where there is already they've already traveled that road. We have UK. We know what that looks like. We know what a lot, bro. As I said, man, they did a lot to, they spent money to brainwash us, and people don't realize Qatar is the number one funder, non-domestic funder of our higher education in America. And there's a reason why people were out there yelling "Free Palestine" in front of all the universities, getting paid to do so, when they had no idea what the hell's going on in the Middle East. So, there's definitely an agenda. There's definitely something that they are pushing, and they're going down the road.
There's trillions of dollars that are involved. Like, listen, Qatar is stealing all the gas from Iran. The European powers decided they're going to starve the Iranian gas industry and basically give all the technology to Qatar. And Iran and Qatar have a shared field. So the trillions of dollars that Qatar has, it's all basically stolen from Iran. If Iran had a normal government, they wouldn't be able to steal that money. So you can imagine there's trillions of dollars on the line. They're going to spend a lot of money. And even, by the way, even Qatar is waking up. I don't know what kind of promises Trump had to make to them for them to finally, and the way I understood it
Do
from
you
the
think it's real?
administration was, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you think they're actually waking up? You don't think they're just playing us?
Well, I think it's not that they're waking up. I think that they're never going to wake up. There's a lot of money involved. I think Trump is strong arming them. I think Trump is
Okay,
saying, "Listen,
they have
if
to.
you don't shut the hell up, you're going to be out of favor." And I'm like, Trump doesn't play with these guys. Trump is
I
putting them in
love
their
that.
place. And by the way I understood it is when they were all trying to attack Iran, it was actually the UAE. That's why UAE is getting hit the hardest right now. It was the UAE and Israel that had decided Iran's got to go, and they were in Trump's ears from one side, and then the other side, Qatar and Turkey had convinced Saudi Arabia to say, hey, if Iran becomes free, Iran's going to be the favorite. Saudi Arabia is no longer going to be favored. And by the way, Qatar and Turkey are right. They're telling Saudi Arabia this, and Saudi Arabia was pushing back. That's why it took Trump, 3-4 weeks to actually finally attack. But it was Qatar and Turkey convincing Saudi Arabia to push back against Trump. But Saudi Arabia finally realized, even their crown prince MBS came out and said Iran's military is a third of us, or economy is the third of us. And by the way, he's right. But he also knows once Iran becomes free, within 10 years, Iran's going to be the number one, the number one GDP. Look how many bright, smart people we have from all over the world that are CEOs, that are lawyers, that are doctors. All these people are going to roll up their sleeve and go back. And by the way, the oil and gas industry is going to be on top. There's lithium in Hamadan. There's going to be a Tesla factory in Hamadan, I promise you. But let me tell
Bro, I
you,
can't wait. I
I
tell
can't
every,
wait. But
I have multiple reels about this I put out because I truly believe what you're saying is true. And I think that it's crazy how you watch this. Dubai was a desert. Iran was crushing. It was really doing so well. It was progressing. It was a westernized country, one of the most westernized countries. Then when the Islamic regime took over, Iran went down, Dubai went up in those 50 years. It went like that. And you saw all the surrounding countries surrounding Iran all progressed and did so well when Iran, went back into the dark ages because of Islam. And now when it comes back up, guess all the people that were investing in these Arab countries, all the people that were traveling to these Arab countries, guess where they're going to be going now? They're going to be investing in Iran, traveling to Iran, and going back to universities in Iran, and all that kind of stuff. And these other Arab countries or any of these surrounding countries are going to take a hit as a result.
I don't know if they're going to take a hit. I think if you build stuff, I think more people are going to want to come to the Middle East, and I think those countries are going to be fine. It's just that they're not going to have a monopoly on fun,
There you go.
And then
Yeah.
the other part I think is I think the tourism industry. There's so many people that I know that are Americans, Canadians. They're just like, we've always wanted to go to Iran. We don't feel safe, but one day I can't wait to travel. We hear it is so beautiful, and the tourism industry is gonna listen.
Yes.
There's a lot of other countries that it's not even the natural resources in Iran that's going to make Iran one of the top destinations. Where it's really the tourism. Iran has a lot of beautiful places, and a lot of people from the rest of the world, been cut off. And look how great of hospitality we have. Our hospitality is bar none. Can you imagine a Four Seasons in Tehran or Four Seasons in Esfahan, or it's going to blow it out of the
Yeah,
water
absolutely.
in terms of in Ramsad and Shomal and
Yep.
on the water in Mahmoudabad. I mean the hospitality that they're going to get with an Iranian host is just going to be unbelievable. But this is what the Shah of Iran was going to build casinos, and he was going to basically turn Kish Island into Dubai. And the powers that be in the UAE, they copied that model. By the way, the king of Dubai, he was educated in Shiraz. There's so many Iranian restaurants in Dubai because he loves Persian food because he grew up in Shiraz. He was educated in Shiraz. He went to military academy in Shiraz. So they love Iran. And by the way, the greatest form of imitation is the greatest form of flattery. And he did basically what the Shah of Iran wanted to do in Dubai, and he basically, that's a respect to Shah of Iran. The Shah of Iran wanted to do what Dubai is, and now we're going to get that back in Iran. It's going to be
Absolutely.
amazing. The
Absolutely.
industries that are going to be flourishing. There's so much youth in Iran that are educated, that are smart, that just haven't been given the opportunities. Now they're going to get the opportunities, and the industries are going to just flourish. And Trump wanted to unleash that on the world. And by the way, who better to keep the peace in the Middle East than having a stabilized Iran? And by the way,
100%.
Pakistan and Turkey are going to be next. They're going to have to get in line, or they're going to be next. And Trump's not playing around.
Well, that brings me to the other thing that I was going to ask you about is Turkey. Like, what are your thoughts about Turkey? Do you think Turkey is going to be less of, I don't know, do you find Turkey to be like kind of a threat right now, or do you find it to be it seems like it's very heavily Islamic, and it's kind of a place where a lot of this terrorism is coming and going from. I'm not really sure.
What's going
what do
on
you
in
think about
Turkey is
that?
interesting. I've been there 5 times, and the people in Turkey are not, the people in Turkey are like Iranian people. They're very
Yeah.
pro-West. I mean, it's like Europe, and you go to Istanbul, and Istanbul is split between, on the one side of Bosphorus is the Asian side, and the other side is the European side, and they're very pro-Western. And Turkey has a very similar population to Iran. I think it's like 80, 90 million. But just like Iran, where 20, 30 million of them are in Tehran, 20, 30 million of them are in Istanbul. Istanbul is very pro-Western. And then, there's some other people in the smaller towns that are kind of like, just like Iran. They're, a little bit more religious, a little bit more behind Erdogan. And Erdogan's whole game is just corruption. He's been making a lot of money on the Islamic Republic. He's been in the cryptocurrency exchange. He's been helping them basically evade sanctions, selling the oil. So he's just really in it for the money. But the people in Turkey, this is going to embolden them. They're going to get rid of Erdogan. Once you get rid of Erdogan and his regime, Turkey is very pro-Western. So Turkey itself is not a problem. It's just the regime in Turkey.
Yeah,
Pakistan is
I
the
guess that's
opposite.
kind of what I guess that's what I kind of
Pakistan's
meant is the government there, the people. So yeah, I guess that's your answer. You answer my question. I kind of feel like we have the same thing going to happen there too, But do you think before they get rid of their government, or before the government changes, do you think it's a problem for Iran, or for what we're doing in Iran, and for the freedom of Iran, or what's happening with that region?
I think whatever power that they had that they wanted to exert, they exerted before the U.S. attacked. Now, this is gonna Trump is gonna see this to an end. If he doesn't, it's by the way, like this needs to be fixed between now and the midterms. If there's a disaster in Iran between now and the midterms, Trump's gonna get impeached because the Democrats are gonna win. So Trump
Yeah.
took a gamble, but it was a very, and by the way, I commend him. No other president ever would risk not just losing, but you saw what they tried to do. Trump, they tried to bankrupt him. They're trying to throw him in jail. They try to assassinate him. So Trump is dealing with all this pressure and took a huge gamble because it was the right thing to do. No other president would do that right in the middle of midterms. But between now and November, Trump's going to really clean up this Iran. And this tells me this has been planned with Shahzada Reza Pahlavi a long time ago, 2 years ago. I know Shahzada Reza Pahlavi used to visit Trump in the Trump Towers before he became president the first time. So when Trump comes out and says, I don't know, I'm going to do. I mean, this is the thing that U.S. presidents always get wrong, right? Putin's never going to come tell you what he's thinking, right? The Islamic
Right.
Republic is going to lie, but our presidents have all been so stupid. They're going to come tell you, here's our 7-point plan we're planning to do. Well, Trump realized you can't tell the enemy what you're going to do. A year ago, when he became president, and he said, we don't have any goals of regime change in Iran. I'm like, oh shit, they're going to attack Iran. When he said we don't have any goals of regime change, that means that's exactly what I'm doing is regime change. And right now he's like, oh, this Reza Pahlavi guy, he's a nice guy. Listen, if Trump went tomorrow and said Reza Pahlavi was his choice, the Democrats would destroy Reza Pahlavi. So
Exactly, bro.
they would
Exactly.
destroy Reza Pahlavi. So he's pretending
Exactly.
like he doesn't like him, hoping that maybe they like him. But he is. There's only one choice, and Israel's made that choice, and the Trump administration has made that choice, and they've been working together. And
Yeah.
everything. I mean, this was so organized. Even the day of the attack, even the time of the attack. Even I was talking to my friend Amiri in Iran, and I said, "Hey, what about people going to work? What's going on? Like, this is like, are people able to go to work? Are you able to go get bread at the store?" He goes, "Listen, it's like 7, 8 days before the Persian." And this is last week I was asking him. He goes, "It's like 7, 8 days before Persian New Year. People, it's like right Christmas time, right? Nobody goes in the office anymore. Everyone's winding out, and then so it's 7, 8 days. People don't have to go to work, and then for the next 13 days after that, people don't have to go to work." He goes, they planned all of this to the T on the timing, on the day, on when they were going to do it, because they need the time where people sit at home and they'll go outside so they can take care of all the IRGC. And then they're going to send ground troops, they're going to send the Marines,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
going to go get weapons, and then the people are going to finish the job.
Can't wait, bro. And I'm gonna let you go soon. I know I've already taken a lot of your time, bro. But I just
No, I
wanted to
appreciate
say
it.
one
Thank you so
last
much
thing.
for having me on. You have a
Th-
great audience, and you guys always been amazing. We'll work together on other stuff in the future, and hopefully we'll have a nice little shot of vodka or tequila together in
Absolutely.
Shomon together.
I can't wait for that, bro. We currently have 1,100 viewers watching live. We have 230,000 views overall on our stream right now. I had one more. I had one more super chat for $10 that just came through, and we'll end on this. What it says here? What are your thoughts and opinions on Zoroastrianism? So it's the same person. I guess they're curious about Zoroastrianism and what our thoughts are. What's your thoughts on it?
Listen, I'm a Christian. I love Zoroastrianism. I think there's such a beautiful religion. It's the first religion that was a monotheistic religion, where Christianity and Judaism obviously are forefathers of that. I think it's interesting. A lot of people think that, oh, Islam is the Abrahamic religion. No, the original Abrahamic religion was Zoroastrian. The only thing I suggest, and I think a lot of Iranians are going to be open to basically become Zoroastrian. I just say, if the powers that be in the Zoroastrian community, please open your hearts and open your religion. Don't make it so hard for Iranians to be able to convert, because you want these Iranians. This is your chance. You got exiled from Iran, had to go to Mumbai. This is your chance. Open your hearts and let Iranians easily convert to Zoroastrianism. Don't make it so hard on them. That's my
Gotcha,
suggestion.
gotcha. Very cool. Thank you for that, bro. Thank you so much for coming on the fly. I know we didn't plan it. I just popped the question
This
to you.
was
So
awesome. You were wearing your red hat. I was like, it's meant to be. I should jump on.
damn it, Cam, bro. Merci
Merci,
d'être
Azizam.
not gonna, dude. I'm so nice to have you. Great
So honored to
perspective,
be
bro.
on, and thank you to you and your amazing audience. And cheers. And my Instagram is Upteen Vaziri, and X is Upteen Vaziri TX. Loved you guys, and we'll be on more. And let's do some more podcasts together.
Thank you, bro. Chassan Awashi, dude. I'll see you. Have a good day.
Castanacci. Merci,
Later.
Aziza.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
All right, guys. All right. That was great. We had Apti, man. That was awesome perspective there. And it was funny on this other screen. I had him, his face was in between, and you had Trump leaning over looking at him on the bigger widescreen. But that was great, man. That was fantastic. It was really good perspective. He's, as you heard, his name is Aptine, and I'll put his information in our description, video description, so you guys can check that out. Is there another super chat? Let's see, do we have another one here? Oh, here's another one. Okay, let me see. Let me pop this up. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for these super chats. This one here is a $35 super chat coming from Darren Lobsher. What is your opinion on my county? What is your opinion on my county's government in South Africa supporting the evil regime in Iran? And will America act on that? Thanks. God bless. Wow. That's interesting. Let me pop that up one more time. So there is a super chat right there asking about your country's government, is what you meant to say, I believe. Your country's government in South Africa supporting the evil regime in Iran. Well, I'll say, man, there's been a couple of countries that support the evil regime in Iran. We have a lot of the people actually in our country on the left that support the evil regime because they hate Donald Trump. I don't know. I don't know enough about South Africa's position on the Islamic regime and why or how they're supporting the Islamic regime to speak on this. But I would say that there's a lot of countries that they got their wires crossed, and they're going to be on the wrong side of history on a lot of this. UK is definitely going to be on the wrong side of history and on the wrong side of their brother, their brothers, the United States. And so, it's just a lot of wacky things happening right now. I unfortunately don't know enough about South Africa right now to comment on that. I wish I did. Sorry. But thank you for the chat, for the super chat. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you for supporting me. We hit 18,123. Had a great live stream so far. We had Trump going through a lot here. A lot of information on Iran. Obviously, we're doing much better in Iran. A simple recap is that the ballistic missiles and the offensive from Iran has gone down 90% or more, which is great. And we're requesting other countries to come help with the Strait of Hormuz. I think it's a strategic ask, and it's a great place, great thing to do. Many trolls in our chat today, which is interesting. It's interesting for you guys to see what all these trolls are saying, right? And how they feel about this. Someone says, this is definitely a religious war and Americans are going to win. Let me put this up. This is exactly right. People find this to be something that is, it's this Islamic regime, it's the government. And a lot of people understand that this is basically a big stop on the expansion of Islam or the Muslim caliphate, or their plans that they've been, this Muslim leadership has been trying to push Islam throughout the whole world. And, definitely, of course, the West is where they're the most unhappy. They don't like Israel. They don't like America. These are the two countries spearheading the West and technology and, forward-thinking countries. And they don't want that. They're trying to do that. So they're trying to get Islam into these. They've been brainwashing us. You guys can see this. You can see how many people on the left in Europe and in America and in Australia, Canada, you can see how much they've brainwashed people on the left to love Islam, love terrorism, Islamic terrorism. They love Hamas. they say free Palestine, but they believe Hamas is doing some type of a freedom type of a thing, which they're a Muslim terrorist group. So you see how they've gotten people on the left to love terrorist Islam and to hate themselves and to hate their own countries. So they're destabilizing countries in the West. They're pushing this Islamic caliphate, Muslim caliphate, and pulling Islamic regime, the government of Iran, which is basically the octopus that's running all of these different factions, pulling the Islamic regime out by the roots is going to stop this. Well, it won't stop it, but it'll be a major hindrance to this Islamic kind of the spread of Islam, not just like a peaceful spread of Islam, but a takeover. Islam has a desire to take over the world. It's in their book. It's in their teachings. They teach each other this. They don't come out and tell you this, when you're sitting there having a coffee, and they don't just walk by and go, "Hey, by the way, we're taking over your world." But you do, if you want to seek out this information, it is out there. You have religious clerics saying this all over social media. You can pull up all their videos. They say it openly. They want Islam to go into every home in the world, whether you like it or not. So we're doing something where it is an Islamic kind of a thing, and Islamic war, and we're pulling it out by the roots. It's not going to be overnight, as much as we all wanted it to be a quick overnight thing. And I thought it would be quicker. I'll be honest. I even said that on my streams. I thought it would be way quicker. It's not. The roots are a little deeper than we thought, and we got to get in there and get them all out. We can't just come and cut it and have it grow again. So so that's what's happening, and we never thought we would be live in a time where this was happening. I never thought that this would happen in my lifetime. Sorry. And I'm so glad that it is. It's a wonderful. We have a bright future ahead of us, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Thank you guys for joining the stream, and I'm gonna cut it there. I'm gonna go to the gym. You guys go work out. If you guys aren't working out, go to the gym. Go work out. It's good for your body, good for your mind. But otherwise, guys, thank you for joining the stream, supporting me. Thank you for all of you that subscribed. Love you all. Everyone else that's been with me, guys, thank you. Hans and Min and Jennifer and Nurse Terry and all you guys and everyone else that's been there. Thank you, Aptine, for joining the live stream. That was fantastic. Guys, we had a great surprise guest that I didn't even know he was going to come on, and he did, and it was a fantastic conversation. Aptine, thank you, buddy. You're the man. That was a fantastic conversation. I'll see you guys later. Yes, America is winning, and it's a great time to be alive. Guys, it's a wonderful thing. And I'll see you later. Bye.